Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a totally fascinating historical arc from the Jumong Chronicles. We're zeroing in on the absolute crucible of nation building. I mean, what does it actually take to build a country, or really any massive enterprise, completely from scratch? We're going to look at the tactics, the wild geography, and the immense personal sacrifices required to resurrect an army of ghosts and carve an empire right out of the wilderness. Let's get into it. To build an empire, a prince must first lose everything. Now, at this point in the Chronicles, Jumong has been completely stripped of his royal title. And to make matters worse, he's actively being hunted down by his own brother, Prince Daezo, who basically controls Buyo now. So Jumong has lost the safety of the palace. But, it's in that massive loss that he has this profound realization. His immediate goal can't just be about winning a throne anymore. He has to fight for a scattered, enslaved people. Section 1. Retreat to the wilderness. So Jumong pivots his entire mission to fulfill his biological father Haemosu's legacy. He's determined to rescue the scattered refugees of the fallen Goguryeo Empire. But he can't just wander around as a nomad, right? He desperately needs a base of operations. Enter Mount Bongye. Now, this wasn't just some casual campsite. This was a rugged, heavily fortified wilderness stronghold. Jumong uses this incredibly difficult, practically impassable terrain completely to his advantage. It lets him hide his growing forces from the watchful eyes of both the Han Empire and the Buyo armies. This mountain literally becomes the secret cradle for his new rebellion. It's right here that Jumong officially transforms from a royal exile into a hardened rebel commander. Section 2. Resurrecting the Daimyo Army. Now, to fight massive established empires, a ragtag group of refugees needs some serious logistics. Because revolutions, well, they don't just run on courage. They run on cold, hard capital and technology. Step 1. Secret funding flows in from Sosuno's vast merchant network. She is absolutely the logistical backbone here. Step 2. In a huge coup, master blacksmith Mol defects from Buyo, setting up a hidden armory to perfect a brand new steel-making process right inside a mountain cave. And finally, Step 3. They unleash those newly forged weapons using ruthless hit-and-run tactics. You see, because the Daimyo army is so vastly outnumbered, they just have to fight smarter. They leverage their incredible speed and superior knowledge of the mountain terrain, combined with vital intelligence gathered by Sosuno's merchants. They know exactly where the enemy is vulnerable. And thanks to Palmo's brilliant steelmaking, they are equipped with weapons that can literally shatter Han's swords right in the middle of battle. By leaning on these specific advantages, the small, highly coordinated force systematically dismantles Han outposts and supply lines, liberating hundreds of refugees at a time. It's amazing to watch unfold. Section 3. The tragedy of false death. But as we know, relentless warfare exacts a heavy toll, and things definitely don't always go according to plan. During a massive engagement against the Han army, Jumong goes missing and is presumed dead on day 1. Watch how quickly things unravel here. Overnight, Prince Daezo senses weakness and moves in, threatening Sosuno's clan just weeks later. He wants to forcibly marry her so he can absorb her merchant clan's wealth into Buyo. Fast forward a few months, believing the love of her life is dead, Sosuno is forced into a desperate corner. To protect her family and her trade empire, she makes a massive sacrifice. She marries her loyal childhood friend and merchant captain, Wu Tae. Section 4. The price of leadership. Meanwhile, Jumong isn't actually dead. He is critically wounded and eventually saved by a local tribal chief's daughter, Lady Yesoya, who completely defies the Han authorities searching for his body so she can nurse him back to health. So look at this comparison. Both of our central leaders are forced into political marriages strictly for survival, but for vastly different reasons. So Sosuno marries Wu Tae to protect her family from a hostile prince, while Jumong eventually marries Lady Yesoya out of immense gratitude, duty, and the strategic need to secure local tribal alliances, prioritizing their shared dream of a free nation over their romance. When Jumong finally heals and returns to the Mount Bongye stronghold, the absolute joy of the Daimyo army is totally overshadowed by a heartbreaking reality. Realizing Sosuno is now married and actually carrying Wu Tae's child, Jumong and Sosuno have to suppress their deep personal agony. They agree to remain political allies, actively choosing to prioritize their shared dream of a free nation over their own romance. It is just a staggering sacrifice of personal happiness for the greater good of the rebellion. Section 5. From Rebellion to Empire. As the Damo army continues its operations, Jumong's legend just catches fire and spreads across the land. But ironically, their spectacular success actually becomes their biggest liability. Because they are so incredibly effective at liberating people, tens of thousands of refugees flock to Mount Bonji seeking protection. To put that into perspective, that is a gigantic population to support in a remote area. The mountain fortress, which was once their absolute greatest tactical asset, suddenly becomes a massive logistical nightmare. A mountain cannot feed a nation. That's the hard truth here. You simply cannot house, sustain, or feed a population of this massive size in a barren, rocky region. Furthermore, because their numbers are swelling so fast, both the Han Empire and Buyeo now recognize the Demul army as a legitimate, formidable military threat. They aren't just a minor annoyance anymore. Guerrilla warfare from a hidden cave just isn't going to cut it. So this triggers a massive strategic shift, the Jolbone pivot. Jumong gathers his generals and makes a truly historic declaration. They are going to leave the safety of the mountain. To protect a population this large, they need fertile farmland. They need actual cities. They need to establish real borders. Setting their sights on the highly volatile but totally resource-rich region of Jolbone, the mission officially transitions from a guerrilla resistance into full-blown conquest. Jumong realizes they don't just need an army anymore. They literally need a country. They have the army. They have the people. But can they conquer a nation? As the Demol army marches down from the mountain toward the founding of a brand new empire, I want to leave you with that final question to chew on. Think about the enormous tactical shifts, the brilliant logistics, and the totally devastating personal costs we've explored today. Transforming from outcasts hiding in a mountain into conquerors forging an empire requires a price that very few are willing to pay. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning how history is truly built.